All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Freight Coach. My name is Chris Jolly. I am your host, and I am the Freight Coach. Before we jump into today's episode, as always, thank you guys so much for coming out and listening to this podcast. For those of you who are new to all of this is the long form interview of the content that I put out there. I sit with other transportation professionals. We talk about best practices. We talk about the realities of this industry. Everybody who is on my show is a transportation professional. This is brought to you by us, for us. I don't like theory on when it comes to content that I consume outside of here. And I want to have actual people who are in the day to day, because at the end of it, you guys, I want to put information out there that you guys can apply and utilize and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. I also have my weekday live show where I break down industry headlines and provide actual insight into what a lot of that information means. There's a lot of very well worded headlines out there that get you to click on it, and the article might not provide a lot of substance, but some people make decisions based off of what they see out there. So we break a lot of that information down again, so you can use it in your day to day and everything else. Because I'm all about keeping people in business. That's why I fly the American flag proudly in my office, is because I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream and dreams as well, regardless of where you are. That being said, if you're not subscribed, do me a favor. If you see value in what we're talking about here today, subscribe and share the show. I really love having a value exchange with all of this. And if you guys see value in it, chances are your network's going to see value in it as well. And that's how all of this stuff grows. I got a very special guest for you guys today. We're gonna talk about all this fun stuff regarding like HR and culture and really about how do we build stuff up. And frankly, there's a lot of things that go into an organization. And then especially out in the world, where do you start? What do you ask if you're growing your organization? You're like, I might need some help from a human resources standpoint. It's always good to have that information and be able to make the right decision first, as opposed to getting a pesky lawyer involved with that. So that being said, I got Anita Bassi here. She is the VP of People and Culture at SPI Logistics. So Anita, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
No, just glad you took the time out of your day to come down and sit down and talk about all of this stuff. I lead in every show with this, Anita. How did you get your start in the industry? What brought you into transportation?
I think it was a fluke and maybe destiny all in one.
Not in freaking water.
Well, so I grew up, my dad was a truck driver. And then a few years in, he decided to take the plunge. He was gonna open up his own trucking company. And that, I think, was really my insight into the transportation world. And on the weekends, we would be washing trucks, we'd be repacking lumber. That was one of his customers. But we'd repack lumber, make sure it fit inside the trailers. And then as we got older and in the summertime, we would start dispatching trucks for him. We were booking load appointments at the port. So obviously out of Vancouver, there's a port there, we'd be booking those. I really got my insight into transportation there. Did I ever think that I would go into a career in the industry? No, because I remember like accidents and my dad being up at 2 in the morning and dealing with full loss on a load, and he's stressed out. He's calling his insurance company. He's dealing with the police. I'm like, I don't think that career is for me. But when Joe Chandler walked in and gave me a call, and really the rest is history from there. I just thought, what a cool way to go back full circle and get into this
Yeah.
industry and be a part of transportation. And although obviously what I do is a little bit different, we're on the brokerage side. My dad was owned trucks and
Yeah.
was in the trucking industry. There's a lot of similarities, and now we get together and we get to talk about it a lot. We have our coffee or have a drink and chat about it, and we just get going. So it's been really cool.
No, so I'm just glad to know that my dad wasn't the only one who made me wash his truck. Because my dad was like my first job.
Yeah.
Everything, because I'm like, my first paying job was picking up trash as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But my first job was when my dad got home from over the road, it was go clean my tires on my truck. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's raining, just get out there and do it. And that, yeah. So it's good to know that it's universal out there.
Yes. Yeah, no, totally is. I don't know if you recall, but I think for me, the funnest part was I'd see the trailers and like when they gel the
Yeah.
trailers, like I used to think it was licorice back then. So when
Oh,
I was really young, I was like, whoa, and one day I got touched, I was like, oh, that is not candy.
yeah. That is not at all. It's grease, actually.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
taste
So
terrible. Oh, that's funny. What people and culture? You guys
Mhm.
have a heavy emphasis on it, and obviously, I'm part of the SPI team as
Yeah.
well. Where my brokerage, Freight Coach Logistics, is we're an independent agent or a freight agent for SPI. And for me personally, I think getting back into the swing of things, because I've been out of the day to day of a broker for the past couple of years, just at the beginning of COVID. Like a lot of people, I was out of a job. I didn't know what to do. So I got in, I started my business consulting. I started creating content that took off. But there's such a critical component to when you get back into the day to day of freight. And one thing for me is it's like the support system behind the scenes has
Mhm.
been flawless is a word that comes to mind. It's been seamless. It's been everything like, and the response time is there. And I think like that, when I'm tying that into the whole culture part of
Yeah.
job title, because that isn't a mistake. That's not just one person who does this. Like we're talking with multiple different departments to get us up and running. And that is a definite culture standard that I can tell. And you like, and again, you can't fake that.
No, I don't think you can. And for me, I think it was a decision. I had my interview with Joe 5 years ago, and when we're going through this, he's obviously my background was very HRE at the beginning. This now my role has it's evolved, but still HR. I think the core of it is what we do in terms of the culture and the people. It's still very there, but what his goal, and I think our goal now as a company is always to make everyone feel like they're part of our family. And I think we reference that a lot as when we send you a welcome to the family. This is our dysfunctional family, but that's what we are. And that's the core of our culture. And I think it starts from top down from a leadership perspective. So I think everyone within our organization sees how much we care. And it's just kind of something that trickles down into them. And it goes back to the recruitment process. I don't care if you know the industry. I don't care if you understand transportation. I don't even care if you know what a broker is. What I care about is, are you passionate? Do you love client experience? Do you love people? Do you like talking with people? What are you passionate about? Because the soft skills can't be taught. Industry can be taught. What we do can be taught, but you as a person and what you bring to the table cannot be taught. I can't teach someone to care.
It's funny you say that, Anita, because I say it all the time. I can teach anything but a work ethic. Either you have one or you don't, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because I've seen so many people come in there. Because again, anything about I can teach you anything you need to know about the industry. Sales got you covered. Operations got you covered. Compliance, pretty solid in that regard. There's a bunch of stuff that I could teach you, but I can't teach that care. I can't teach that. Do you actually want to get up and fucking do something
yeah.
in the morning? You either have it or you don't. And maybe I'm jaded in that, but I've just in my experience in life and my professional career, it's very evident who cares and who doesn't when you're
Mhm.
in a workplace. And I think like it's imperative for a company. Like I don't buy into the narrative, oh, you'll always have a couple of bad apples or something. I don't buy into that narrative. I believe you set your standards and you hold everybody to those standards. And the
Mm,
ones who might be the bad apples or whatever you want to say, they'll work themselves out of an organization because
totally.
it is so annoying. If I could only imagine being a low performer in a high performing room and how emotionally draining it would be to be around people who are actually doing stuff because you can't fake it till you make it in real life. I hate that to break it to people. You can't.
No, I think you'll get found out pretty quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think just to go back there, I look at our team, especially in client care, and the commonality between all of those people is their passion and this unwavering like loyalty they have to the network, not just to us as a company, but to the agent. So when they do a demo for a prospective agent, they are excited. They get off the call and they say, you know what, Anita, or they call Mike, or they send us an email and they say, we think this guy is going to be great for the company. He's going to fit, and they'll say, he's going to fit the culture it like, he'll fit the culture, he's gonna be great, they're gonna be a great person to bring on, and that's the really cool part of it, or we do bring on a new agent and they do their first demo and they send us a quick summary as to how it went and what they need from us maybe, or if they need us to do anything, and a lot of times they'll say, "The demo was great, this person had great questions, we're so excited that they're joining, that they're bringing this different aspects." Maybe it's that they're doing heavy haul and we haven't really had anyone doing heavy haul, so they get excited about that because they get to learn. And so I think one of the keys here, having people who are not privy to the industry and come in with no knowledge, is that they're so excited to learn it. And you
Yeah.
see passion when they're talking to you or another agent's office.
Yeah. And I think of it like this, Anita. I think there's a lot of power in a fresh perspective because I think like in this industry, like there's so many people, like either you've been in it for 15, 20 years or you've been in it for a week. Like that's kind of like because either you make it 6 months, I give it a 6 month time frame. If
Yeah.
you make it past 6 months, you're in it for life. If you don't, like, you'll know very quickly if this industry is for you or not. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of power in a fresh perspective. And my business partner, for example, not a transportation guy, but
Mhm.
he's worked as a mechanical engineer for 15 years. He's
Yeah.
the polar opposite of me from like a analytical standpoint. I'm of the mindset of shoot, aim, then fire style. Like I'm just like, hey, run through the wall. We'll fucking figure it out as we go. He's very much pump the brakes. Let's
Yeah.
document this. Let's write this stuff down. There's a lot of compliment there. And it's
Yeah.
so talking about that excitement of the industry. And I love being around that because I think at times, if you've been in any industry, it's not just transportation here. You forget about how cool it can be at times. And when that new excitement comes in, it's almost like reinvigorating.
You're learning all the time, and I think that's what I love about transportation. The other day, someone asked me, like, "Do you see yourself with SPI or within the company or within the industry for how much longer?" I'm like, "As long as I can do it.
Yeah.
As long as, God willing, I'm able to work and I'm willing to be in an industry, this is where I'll be." Because every day is different. Every day is a different challenge, something else. There's no black and white in transportation, right? It's
Yes.
all a range of gray. So you get to see different aspects. You get to see the carrier side, you get to see the agent side, but you also deal with the client, like the customers. So you're just always learning and evolving. And I think that's what really fuels my passion is just how interesting it is. My day's never boring. I'm not waiting. I'm not burning out the clock, sitting at my desk thinking, okay, like 2 more hours. Should I watch another like YouTube video? Like what? My
Yeah.
last role, I would get through my workday and I have like 2 hours left, there's nothing left to do and you're just so bored, but here you're not, and that's what I love about it. I just love the industry, I love what I'm doing, and it's great.
Yeah, and so it's funny you say that because like for the last 5 years, I've pretty much been in like startup mode. So like a
Mhm.
previous employer, I was one of my best friends. He started a freight brokerage. I was like employee number three. Like we
Yeah,
were booking freight off of Costco, folding tables. Like we were just making it happen. We were
yeah,
young, we didn't know, and we were just going for it. And then starting my own company 2.5 years ago now, it's just been like to your point about I don't look at the clock anymore and I'm like, I got 2 hours left or this and that. I'm like, I literally can say I have worked damn near every single day since I went into business for myself. This isn't a brag, a hustle. Oh, you got to work 24,
yeah.
365. But like legitimately, I've put that's what's required when you're building something up. But I don't look at it in the traditional sense of work now. It's like I feel like it's my purpose. I feel like it's my why I was put here on earth. I feel like this is why God put me on earth is to build these companies up, to
Mhm.
use my platform to change the trajectory of this industry and to provide actual insight for people and bring reality to that. So and I love that. I love that I don't have to look at my clock and be like, oh, great, 2 more hours left or 3 more hours left or something like that. Cause I've been in that role
Yeah.
before where I don't think people realize like the second you start feeling that way, you got to find a change and get that excitement back in your life, whether it's in freight or not, because all of our clocks are ticking and you don't want to look back in 5 years and be like, I've literally been miserable every day for the last 5 years because I've been in that situation and it's the worst feeling in the world.
Oh, I agree, and we spend half our life working. We spend half our life working. So to not be spending that time doing, like, what you're passionate about, what excites you, or something you're learning from and growing and evolving as an individual, it's a shame. So you have to find what you love and continue to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think that's it's also like the power of being around like the right people. Because I think like, when you are talking about culture, like especially in this industry, like there are some very shitty days in trucking. All right. There are some days where things literally nothing can go to say
Yeah.
the least. And it's never as bad as we think, though. I will put that out there. But there are strings that you get out there where it's rough. If you're talking about building up your book of business, if you're coming on as an agent and all of your customers aren't firing on all cylinders and you're out there prospecting and everything else,
Yeah.
you start to doubt yourself. I don't care what anybody says, no gets to you.
Mhm. Of course.
Repeated no will get to you. And there's a lot of power in being around people who actually care and have that experience. And you can reach out to people like what within the network essentially. And you're like talking to them directly about certain situations and just knowing that you're going to be around there. But again, it's like that culture piece is so key to that because yes, we are all independents, but we're also part of the overall umbrella as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can reach out. Like, I know the customers that we've set up and everything so far, it's 2 seconds, like response. And it's like in that, it's that initial excitement of it's,
Yeah.
oh my God, please let's go. And it's, they're like, they're faster at responding than most than that I am at times. And I'm like, this is fantastic.
The culture of yes. I think that's something else we drive to is that we can do anything for you. You have a problem, you have or a crazy idea, whatever it might be, we are going to get it done for you. And that's really something we've honed in on, I would say the last 5 years is we are a culture of yes, we can get it done for you. There's nothing we can't do, and we wanna be easy to do business with. Not from just the selling point and trying to get you on into the agency, but when you get into the agency or when you get into our network, you will see that we live and we breathe that model. We will get it done for you. You have a like anything you need, there's a way around it or there just bring it into client care, and whether it's to do with AP, AR, or on an executive level, that team will grind, and they will make sure that they give you the result that you're looking for.
No, definitely. And it's definitely not that churn and burn feeling that you get because that's one thing that I don't know what in your previous roles in HR and everything, but
Mhm.
it's I don't see why so many people put on a facade of we are this way and then they get people in the door and it's like that is nothing like you said it was going to be. I don't see how people don't put that correlation together on how damaging that can be to your brand as a whole.
Yeah, I think so. You know what I think that is, and I speak from previous experience,
Yeah.
is that there's a disconnect from the leadership team to your entry level position. So, what you're preaching at the top doesn't flow through your chain. And then also, the other problem is when you have hierarchies that are top, 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 instead of having a flat hierarchy where the messaging from the top only needs one channel to get through to the bottom, right? That message resonates better when you know who the president is, you know who the executive team is, you believe it because you see them doing it. You see them picking up the phone on a weekend or an evening or in middle of a meeting and dealing with the issue or just taking on a call because someone's having a bad day and they just want to talk and vent to you because you also become friends and these confidants for people too, right?
Huh.
And what I've seen in previous companies I've been with is that they're shouting and giving these directives, but they actually don't feel the pain that the staff on the entry level or who are actually dealing with the day-to-day operations are feeling. So they create this goal or the strategic plan without any idea what the actual pains are of the industry. And I think the differentiator here is that every one of us feels their pain. Every one of us answers those calls. We've worked from the bottom to get to where we are. And so we feel what our teams are going through. So I think we resonate with what their pain is. We want to make it better for them. And so when they have an issue, we can help them. So they're also, it's a two-way street, right? They see that we're willing to listen to them, they're gonna listen to us, and there's that mutual respect, and I think it benefits the entire network.
Yeah. How are
Mhm.
you this is I'm just coming up with this right now. How do you deal with internal conflict from your position? Because again, there's always going to be something. And I think like there's other people out there who are listening to this that they might have a couple of coworkers who button heads or whatever that looks like. How do you manage that? Is it have you experienced that enough in your career where you know how to roll with that? Or is it a unique case by case basis? Because I know that was a real big shock to me as a young leader in some of the internal discourse that went on between employees and team members of mine and having to deal with that from a leadership level. And you, cause like where I'm from, you're just like, "Well, just go out back and punch each other in the face and you'll figure it out." I know that's not how it works in
Yeah.
corporate America, but I also think like that was one of my biggest shocks right away was the
Yeah.
first time I had to deal with that.
Yeah, and I think we're fortunate at SPI that I don't deal with it often, but I actually started my career off in like a security company,
Okay.
and let me tell you the story to go on and on. And so we dealt with a lot of conflict between a security guard and another security guard or just corporate level employees.
Yeah.
So I got the tools, I think, from there, but at the end of the day, I think it's letting people have their time and letting them speak their truth because every version is different. But for me, it's bringing in one staff member, having a conversation, and then bringing in the member, having the conversation, but getting them in the same room to then talk it out. I think the worst thing companies do is when they say it's confidential and they let the employee vent, but then nothing gets done or resolved. You feel like I talked to my manager, but I wonder, did it go through? Did they talk to the other employee? And they're left in limbo because it's confidential. And I think people do that because they also don't want to create any more friction. I think they're scared to have those difficult conversations with everybody in the room. But I think as a company or as a team who needs to move forward, you got to have difficult conversations with all the players in the room. This
Which
is not yeah, it's not just from an employee standpoint, this
yeah.
also goes into the agency model or a customer model, seeing what the problem is and having those conversations.
No, definitely. So, like, what does a follow up look like? Because again, I'm also thinking you
Yeah.
have your initial meeting, you sit down, you talk to the individuals, you let them
Yeah.
then say their piece. But like, I know when I was an employee and I was airing out grievances for whatever that looked like, and then it was like, wait, so you're not going to follow up with this? I'm just like, you said your piece and now it's all done.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you handle that to like really ensure that your team members are actually like, no, I get it. Let's just move forward.
Yes. So for me, I have what's called like an open door policy.
Yeah.
And so my door is, it's open door, but it's constantly shut because usually someone's in there. I feel like a part of my job is being a counselor. And I think that goes back to that follow up is making sure that they feel secure in the solution. So when we have these conversations, which thankfully don't happen very often in terms of any disagreements between the staff, but when they do, you have the conversation, you've talked out with the staff, and then you do a follow up. So I do individual follow up. So I'll have the person come into my room, obviously, to talk separately and see how they're feeling about things, see if they feel like it's resolved, has the issue been handled in the way that they felt and that they feel like they've been heard. And I think that's important for people is have you been heard?
Yeah.
And has the person on the receiving end heard you? Or is it that you just talked at them? And there's a difference. Are they taking the time to listen to you? Did they make changes? So the follow up is having those individual conversations, but it's also getting those people back in a room together
Yeah.
and seeing how they feel. And I think when you create a dialogue or a culture of openness and communication, it just makes things so much better. Letting them become friends too and having team building events where they feel comfortable that when there is a problem to go like straight on and that kind of hurt my feelings, or I didn't really understand why you said it that way. I think that creates that dialogue as well. But because they're not just coworkers. I feel like a lot of the team are friends because they hang out, they want to go on lunch together. So creating that dynamic, creating that culture. So that's what I think it comes back to.
You brought up team building there. What do you think is a critical step? Or do you work with your agents who are like, hey, we're hiring 3 people. How do we implement a team building exercise or like a culture exercise? Like, how do you work with them on that? Because I think that's something for me selfishly, I'm like, that's what I was going to be one of my biggest concerns is I know my personality type and I know not everybody resonates with that at
Yeah.
times. And I'm always like, that's what I'm always thinking about is because I just want people while we're working together to understand, like to have that respect level. Or it's, hey, is it if you live by your core principles and you build off of that? Or have you found a specific exercise that most people enjoy from this is where I would start you out at?
And I think everybody's so different. And I think when you do a cookie cutter approach, it will backfire on you
Yeah.
because everybody's comfort level is different. So, some people might be okay with some team building exercises where others just want to go for lunch and get to listen to everybody and have that dynamic of learning how other people are. They're not comfortable in situations where you just throw them into an icebreaker. So I think really for me is when agents reach out or like they need suggestions for hiring or whatever, it has to be a tailored approach.
Yeah.
If you just give, this is my standard sheet and this is how you recruit people and this is how you team build, it's never going to work. And I think in order for it to work, you have to listen. You have to understand that person and what they're trying to get out of it. And when you do that, you're able to create a more tailored approach that's going to drive value for them at the end of the day. For example, my team, they love going out and trying new restaurants. A lot of them are foodies. And so they bond over that. And so that's what we like to do for team building and then, or cooking class or whatever it might be. But that's I call it like their love language, right? Is the food. that's what they enjoy doing. And so that's what we try to give back to them. And we try to get to try restaurants maybe that they wouldn't want to do on their own or wouldn't have the opportunity, whatever it might be, is finding out what speaks to your team and then driving a team building exercise from there.
No, that makes sense. It is, and I think that is probably the magic question for a lot of people who are growing their organization, because I recently had a conversation with the CEO of Trailer Bridge, and we were talking about growing their company and the rapid growth that they've experienced and what their rapid growth plans are, and how he was talking about it was one of the better things that they did is they implemented and held their company culture at a small level,
Mhm.
held firm as they grew. They didn't make any concessions with that. They held firm with that. And I believe in that as well, where it's like you can't deviate from
Mhm.
that. Whether you have one employee, 10 employees, or 10,000 employees, the culture has to remain the exact same no matter what. And it's easier to implement it when you're in the growing stages than, oh shit, we just got to 100 people. We got to change our culture. We got to do this. I think like that there's a lot of importance. And for me personally, it's like in my head, and the way that we're building out our business is we're operating as if we're a $1 billion company already. Like we're doing the processes, we're doing the back, we're doing all of this stuff now and acting as if that's where we already are. So when
Mhm.
we get there, we're not, oh shit, what do we do next? Because I think that derails people's progress a lot more than we want to admit. Like we want to think as entrepreneurs and type A personalities, we got it all figured out. Reality will get you very quickly that you don't.
So, Chris, honestly, that's really inspiring that you said that because a lot of companies do it backwards, right? And then you know what happens? You get a discontent between your staff and leadership because now you're changing all these. So they've become used to like not having policies and procedures and flying by the seat of their pants and doing things how they see fit. And then you come back and you say, hey, we're not a small family run organization anymore. Now we're a company of 1,000 people. We can't do it like this anymore. So we're going to change everything that you've known for the last couple of years.
Yes.
And right. And so to think like that from the beginning is such a smart way because you're establishing this is what we're going to be from now until till the end. And I think that's a great way to go because you're not changing the core of what these people are going to be used to, what they've come into, what they've bought into. And that's the biggest thing is that when your staff buy into what you're doing and they love who you are, that's why they're there. But if you shake things up, you're going
Yeah.
to get attrition, you're going to get turnover because that's not what they signed up for.
And I'm right there with you. And I feel because I'm just like a student of the game of business and everything else. Like I'm all about investing in myself when it comes to like my mindset and when it comes to my reading, and the content that I consume is very much geared towards growing these things out. And like, obviously, you've probably heard this saying before, like success leaves clues. There are very successful entrepreneurs and people who built massive companies who will sit down and put a lot of this stuff out there. And that was like a resounding response of set the tone early and don't
Yeah.
deviate away from that because of what you said. It's very challenging to rein people in as
Mhm.
you grow. It's easier to set the tone right away and then roll with that. And you can expand out, but you can't contract it back in.
Exactly. No, and people will like change to an extent, but they don't like change when it comes to the core values. So that's really important. You got to set the tone from the beginning if you want to see the success, especially if you want to have longevity in your employees. You want to see them there for 2, 5, 10 years. I think the success of those companies is that they've created the tone, they've created those policies, they've created those procedures. And that doesn't mean you have to be so strict and stringent just because you have policies and procedures. I think people use that sometimes, that like having a policy means like we're a strict company. No, you can have flexibility, but you got to have those guidelines in from the beginning. And then those people will grow with you because they believe in that mission. They believe in that vision and those values. And it's just, I think it's the way to go.
Yeah. And I also just think it's just about setting the standards, Anita, and it's staying on course with them and not like, I guess, because to me, it's if you're going to negotiate with your standards, what else are you going to give up? What else are you going to look over? I don't think people realize that when you look over the micro, how it affects the macro of your business. And that's one thing that I've just been on a massive self development and mental strength journey over these past
Mhm.
couple of years with a lot of things. And like I've gone back and forth about my weight and getting back into fitness. And I'm starting to see it. I'm like, wait a second. Yes, if I eat pizza today, no, it is not going to negatively affect me tomorrow as much as we would. But if I do it today, what am I going to allow myself to do tomorrow? And then it's those small compounding things and tying it into sales and business. If you deviate away from your core principles of your business, if you deviate away from the way you operate once, it won't affect everything. But if you do it once, you're going to justify doing it twice. And then it's that small, it's like the way that I see it's like the death by a thousand cuts scenario, where
Yes.
there's not one major event that will ever derail you, but it's a thousand little things that you look over or
Yeah.
negotiate with yourself on.
No, I completely agree with that. And you do see that, right? It's not, it's also like, okay, think about budgeting or finance, right?
Yeah.
Going to get a coffee one day is not going to throw off your budget, but then you start spiraling and it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy a coffee today and then tomorrow and then the next day. And how much does that add up to over the year? So it's the same principle here, right?
Yeah. It's wild. The coffee analogy is the one, like, that's the one thing, Anita, that I'm like, I have a coffee pot, I have all that stuff, but a couple of times a week, I do getting out of my office and just
Yeah.
interacting with another human because
Yeah.
I'm one of those hermit style people where it's like, I could sit in my office for 12 hours and not leave it. And I'm fine with that. But I'm like, no, I got to get out and talk to people in person. Not
Yeah.
everything can be done digitally or over
Yeah.
the phone. I need to say hi to somebody because there's some days, again, I like, I leave before my wife and my son wake up in the morning and I don't come home until they're pretty much like getting ready to go to bed for the night and everything. And there's those days that happen. Not every day. I'm not saying that this is a prerequisite or anything like that, but as you're building and scaling, you sacrifice a lot of time away from
Mhm.
your family and your loved ones, but it is also the fact, like, if you're gonna be doing this, like, get out for go walk outside, get some sunlight. It's a beautiful day in Arizona. It's our summertime now. The rest of
Yeah.
you guys are gonna get some snow, but it's like, get outside and get that fresh air and just don't bog yourself down because, again, back to the decision making and
Yeah.
everything we're talking about, you need to reset throughout the day. It might just be a 5-minute walk outside, get some fresh air, and then boom, you're rejuvenated and you're ready to go again.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that for sure.
Anita, I appreciate your time. I think that we covered a lot of solid points for people when it comes down to setting the tone of your culture and holding yourself to that. And I just appreciate you taking the time of the day to come out and talk to me. So, how does anybody reach out to you, Anita, if they want to reach out, if they liked what you had to say? How do they contact you?
They can email me. So it's abassi at spi3pl.com. Like you said, Chris, the team responds quickly. I am the same way. You send me an email and 10 seconds later, you're going to have a response. So fastest way. I'm not the best by phone, but you email me and I will get back to you and we can set up a time to chat.
That's perfect. Anita, I appreciate it. If you guys have made it this far in the episode, chances are you're already subscribed. But if you're not and you saw value in what we talked about, share the show. That's all I can ask from you guys at the end of the day, because if you see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.